Hey, I'm Jackie Koski, and I have been asked a million times, how in the hell did you get over $150,000 in your health savings account? So I thought I'd do a quick little video and show you exactly how I did it. So I'm going to share my screen here really quick. And I just want to show you that almost anyone can do this if you just step through the math. Now, whether or not you should be on a high deductible health plan is a whole different story, but I'll just start there. In order to contribute to a health savings account, you do have to be on a qualified high deductible plan or an HSA eligible plan. And I was. It worked for my family. My family is me and my daughter. And so during this entire time, that's one of the tips is that I was able to contribute to the family max. But let me just kind of show you where I am today. So the first part is that I wanted to show you how my numbers break out. So my contributions was about 43% of the total amount of my account. And I had employer contributions, about 6% belong to, I will give credit to my employer. The last one is growth. And if you look, the biggest piece there is the growth. That's 51%. So today, 14 years after I started, my health savings account is worth over $150,000. So I contributed the Family Max from 2008 to 2019, but I still let it continue growing. And this number is reflected through 2021. So I didn't make any contributions in ever since I retired. So no contributions in 2020 and no contributions in 2021, but it kept growing. And if you look at this supersized health savings account, in 10 years, this is likely to grow to $300,000. And in 20 years, that's likely to double to $600,000. And for that assumption, I simply use a 7% return in the stock market. So the question is, how did I get to this supersized HSA? I'm going to show you the steps. Now, these are the 6 things that I did. I maxed out the family contributions for 12 years. I was paying out of pocket for expenses. I saved my receipts. I minimized my fees and expenses. I invested in a stock market fund. And then, of course, there was some really strong stock market performance. So let's peel that back a little bit. So maxing out the family contributions for 12 years. So basically, it was me and my daughter. And in order to contribute to the family maximum, all you need is you and one other person. It doesn't have to be you and a spouse, just you and one other person. In my case, it was me and my daughter. I did that for 12 years. And again, the high deductible plan that allowed me to contribute to the HSA was the right one for me and my family. Now, the next one is I paid out of pocket for medical expenses. That just means I didn't go into my health savings account or use that debit card to pay for my expenses. Things like if I had prescriptions, if I needed to see a doctor that wasn't a regular wellness visit, I had to pay out of pocket for those things. But luckily, me and my daughter was healthy enough where there was never any bills large enough to where I felt like I needed to dip into my health savings account. So that's exactly what I did. And we averaged about $300 a year in out-of-pocket expenses. So it wasn't anything crazy. And I feel very lucky that there was no catastrophic events, there was no big accidents or any big illnesses. And by not dipping into my health savings account, it allowed me to keep that money in the market and to keep it growing. So the next one is I saved receipts. Now, why is this even important? So here's the thing. Being able to save the receipts said that even though I was incurring these expenses, I didn't have to reimburse myself right away. But if I held onto that receipt digitally, that I would be able to reimburse myself at any point. So for someone that retired super early, I retired at the age of 49. So I can take the money out equal to the receipts for the expenses I have incurred already during that 10 or 12 year period, right? So being able to, I guess, stay organized and, keep up with these receipts, it allowed me to be able to pull money out whenever I wanted, as long as I had the receipts to match up for the expenses. And then I would simply file that information with my taxes for that year. So next, I minimize fees and expenses. I mean, we do that in our retirement accounts and every investment account we have, right? So my HSA provider, they didn't charge me a monthly fee. I think my company picked up the tab for that. It was Alpton Bank. And I invested in a low fee Vanguard index fund that had like a 0.04 expense ratio. So I wasn't giving away money in the way of expenses as I was, working on getting my health savings account funds growing. So that was a big piece of it. Next, I invested in a simple stock market index fund. So I could have had some of my funds invested in bonds or something that wouldn't return as much as the stock market would, but I decided I wanted it all in stocks. So that also helped with the growth of this account um, because these were the investments that I choose to have within my health savings account. And next, the strong stock market performance. So I have to totally give credit for how well the stock market has performed since 2009. The stock market has been on a tear. The biggest pullback that I can recall was, in 2020 when COVID hit. But that recovered really, really quickly. So that strong stock market performance had a lot to do with it. And so counting the 14 years from 2008 to 2021, it's been in the stock market, and the stock market has performed so well. And again, the last 2 years in 2020 and 2021, I didn't make any contributions, no new contributions. The money just kept growing. So that pretty much is how I got to $150,000 HSA, and it has actually grown to much more than that as I continue to leave it into the stock market. So if you're thinking about a health savings account and you want to use it like another retirement account for healthcare needs, that is a really good option. But you saw the numbers and how I was able to do that. And it's something that if, that type of health plan that allows you to open up an HSA works for you, it's not a bad idea to, make your contributions, invest in the stock market inside of your HSA, and get your money growing.